do you mind taking your seats? And it's a nice reception to get what you want. A room like that. All right. Well, Liam, I know this is your first time at the festival, but do you have a relationship with Zurich? I imagine you've been here before over the years. Really? First time. First thoughts of, I know you've only been in town for a little while, but it's a great festival and a wonderful city, so what are your first impressions?
Microphone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's... Thank you. So you're familiar, obviously, with the festival and how it's grown over the years, so what does it mean for you to be here with this movie?
I'm a big supporter of festivals because it puts a focus on the industry, which translates into people buying tickets to see movies, so it keeps us all on board.
And I feel like in the last few years, well, throughout your career, but especially the last few years, your audience around the world has really responded to these characters that you've taken on. It must make you feel really special to have that type of international support for these types of movies.
They certainly were a surprise, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you mean these action films, they're fun to do, and
something that I love about this film, and it was sort of surprising because I was not familiar with the novel, and I know this is adapted from a novel, but there's this, it's set in 1999, so this Y2K thing is kind of looming over the story, which I thought was really interesting, and your character is not into technology and cell phones and things, so how do you think that affected the film and became one of the themes of the movie?
Yeah, Scott Frank, the writer-director, wanted to set it in 1999, mainly as a kind of to offset the horror of our villains, that we're all worried about the wrong thing. Everyone was worried about, concerned about Y2K. Were planes going to drop out of the sky? Were computers going to suddenly malfunction? And society would grind to a halt, And as one of the bad guys says, everybody's worried about the wrong things.
When you're being approached for a project like this, what is it about this character, who's a complex guy? He's not just a tough, smash-mouth detective. He's got a lot of his own issues, obviously. What is it about the character and the story that initially grabbed your attention and made you want to do it?
I like the story. Like you, I wasn't familiar with the novel at all. So, and I'm attracted to these loner sort of guys that have got some ghosts from the past and some unresolved issues. And this guy in particular is constantly looking for some sort of redemption.
You play opposite a young actor who is very popular in the United States, even though he's just getting started in his career. He goes by the name of Astro, popular off of a television show in the United States for his music, but is now focused on acting. And you guys have a lot of the heart of the movie is based on your relationship. Talk to me about your impressions of young Astro.
He's when we shot the movie last year. Now he was 16. I didn't know the kid at all. I mean, he was on the X Factor or America's Got Talent, I think it is. X Factor. And he's a rap artist, lovely kid, lovely to act with, very honest, very simple in his acting, which is what I like. And he was good to be with, he was a lovely boy. Is a lovely boy.
You mentioned you seem to gravitate towards these loner types of guys, and these intense movies. But when you're on set of a film that has such dark themes, what do you do to keep everybody's spirits up? Is it a heavy work day every day because of the nature of the material, or are you able to sort of enjoy the movie making process despite it being such a difficult subject matter?
Yeah, we enjoy the movie process. I think because it is such a heavy matter. There's most of the actors, including myself, you try and keep a lightness, let's put it that way, cracking jokes and stuff, so that when the cameras turn, we know what we have to do. But I think it's important to keep it a
little lighter.
Keep it a little lighter.
But it is an action movie, and you've obviously trained in various different forms of martial arts and fighting and things over the years. So how does one movie lead into the next when you're on a film like this, where your previous films that you've done sort of help you with the physical aspects of a role like this?
Well, with this one, it's the opposite of the character in Taken, because this guy is he's not really an expert at fighting, and we tried to show that. He's very vulnerable. He is certainly not an action hero, but and that's what kind of drew me to it as well, So when we choreographed a couple of fights that I do have, we wanted to make them just very, very nasty and real, and no kind of slick moves or anything like that.
It's almost a throwback to older films and films from the 70s, and that you have this flawed hero who's got his own issues and demons, and I feel like they don't make movies like this too often anymore. How hard was it to fight to get the movie made, or how did the whole project come together?
I think that's one you'd have to ask the producers, Ben. I know it was about 12 years in the making. The producers would answer that question for you. I came on about 7 months before we started shooting. I like Scott Frank. I know who he is, and I know his reputation as a writer, screenwriter, and he's one of the top A-list writers in Hollywood. So I was very keen to work with him.
Let's open it up now to a few questions from the journalists who are joining us here in Zurich. So we have one right in the front.
Thank you very much.
Now, okay, sorry. Welcome to Zurich and congratulations on the movie. I'm Tanja Lippach from Backstage Magazine from Switzerland. And I'd like to know, how was it to work with Astro and Boyd Holbrook and so on? You said that your character is kind of a loner, but on the same time he's kind of taking care of all the lost boys in his neighborhood, right? So
no, he's not. Just that one boy. In fact, the boy's kind of taking care of him,
Okay, is it that way? That's interesting. It's like more the other way, that he's like kind of a mentor, that they come to him and they kind of...
Well, what the movie does bring out is the power of this Alcoholics Anonymous group, which has saved many, many millions of lives since it started, I think in the 1920s, I attended quite a number of these meetings in Los Angeles and New York as part of research, and was so amazed at the generosity of people, men and women at these meetings, who would try and help each other, would tell their stories and stuff. So everyone in the room were mentors to each other, I tried to encompass that for the film.
Yeah, over here in the corner.
Yes, hello, my name is Cyril Plank. I'm one of the video philosophers. It's an independent journalistic project. And let's stay with the question of heroes again. And my thesis is that anti-heroes or heroes are mirrors of the society, of our society. And why do you think that a sober alcoholic, a re-educated, reintegrated alcoholic may incorporate that anti-hero stereotype nowadays?
That's an interesting question. Heroes, I guess you have to define what a hero is. I mean, I think for myself, growing up in Ireland, looking at movies, I was always attracted to that type of loner character who was kind of outside the mainstream of society. Who springs to mind? Robert Mitchum, I guess, is some of those noir detectives that he played. I guess in the 60s, Steve McQueen to a lesser extent, and in the 70s, 80s, I guess, Clint Eastwood and those Dirty Harry films. There's something about them that are very appealing to all kinds of audiences, you know, who buck the system and are morally in a very, very shady grey areas of the practices that they practice, you know, in order to track down killers or whatnot. And it gives us, as a viewing audience, it gives us a great release, because we can't do that in society, you know. It's why cinema, I think, is so appealing, because these characters can be
encourage.
Encourage. You know, we're cheering them on. You know.
Thank you.
Raise your hand and I'll shout you out over there. Yes, young lady over here.
Hello, my name is Teresa. I'm from Czech Republic, and I'd like to ask. We spoke, or you spoke about your young partner. So I just wonder, what were you like when you were 16 years old? Was it like sweet 16? And what kind of actor were you in comparison to this actor nowadays? Thank you.
Well, when I was sweet 16, I'm from a little town outside Belfast, so the whole civil rights issue was starting to boil over in Northern Ireland, as you may or may not know. British troops were brought in, and suddenly all mayhem was let loose. So that was my kind of 16th birthday. Actually, was been very fearful for a number of years. And what was I going to say after that? What was the second part of your question, dear?
Like in comparison with the childhood or the teenage age the actor had.
Astro,
has
yeah.
Astro, yeah. Like, is it much different being a teenage
well,
boy
Astro
now?
Astro was his character is a child of the streets. You know, he's living on his wits. That was certainly not my upbringing, you know. I was from a very, very stable working class family, you know, where life revolved around school and amateur boxing in my case, and that was it, you know.
Okay, thank you.
A few more questions here, right in the front. Yeah.
I'm Christina Fryer from in Zurich. Congratulations on the movie, and there's lots of blood and violence in the movie. Do you find yourself drawn to playing a character, say a tough guy, or do you prefer playing that type of guy? What's your favourite type of character to play?
I always get off on the writing, you know. It's no matter what the genre is. As I was saying earlier, I kind of grew up watching these types of individuals and was always attracted to them. I can't intellectualize why. They just appealed to me as a teenager. And, you know, now at the age of 62, to get the chance to play them, I was kind of feel like a bit of a kid in a toy shop. You know?
But it also seems like for every sort of intense drama like this or a thriller, you then dip your hand into comedy and you do something A Million Ways to Die in the West, or you have Tattoo coming up. So after you do a film like this, are you looking for something to sort of lighten the mood? Do you now like to go back and forth, or is that just the way they sort of approach it?
It's nice to go back and forth. Yeah, I haven't done much comedy, but it's
popped up in Hangover, and it's a little more comedy these days.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a couple more, but it's nice to break it up. It's nice to get the chance to.
Yeah,
sure.
We have a few more here. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Gloria Escola from the Zeta Group in Spain. After such a great career, one of my favorite movies ever is Schindler's List. You've worked with great filmmakers like Steven Spielberg. What does acting give you now? And you ever thought you would get so far? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I still love doing it. It's great to be in this position of people, total strangers, offering me scripts, and sometimes with a considerable amount of money behind them too. It never fails to surprise me. I'm still, there's a part of me still from the school of acting whereby it's hitting a few marks and saying a few lines. That's what I do, you know. So I feel very, very blessed and very lucky, and especially to have done Schindler's List with Stephen, you know. That movie was quite an extraordinary film, you know. And it's great to be part of that, you know, something that has still been talked about, is still shown in schools and colleges, and is used as an education tool against the power of fascism and racism and intolerance, you know. So it's wonderful to be a part of that, a small part of that. And it's a great life. I get to go to festivals, meet new people.
Yeah, right here in the front.
Here. Will you do more action movies in the future, or dramas, comedies?
As long as my knees hold up, maybe 2 more years, and that's about it.
Do we have time for a few more? If anybody has questions for Ms. Neeson? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Roland from With 20 Minutes. Since you just mentioned Dirty Harry before, I just wondered, because you have been directed by Clint Eastwood in that movie, is there anything you remember, now that you're about the same age as you played the detective, anything you remember from that time that he might have told you?
I always remember there was one scene I was doing with, Clint didn't direct that particular, it was the last of the Dirty Harry films, the Deadpool, I think it was 1988 or something, 89. And we were doing a scene, it was myself, an Asian actor called Evan Kim, who was Dirty Harry's sidekick in that particular film, and Clint. And we did this tiny little scene where Clint had a lot to say. It's one of those scenes where you have to tell the audience where the story's at. Okay, you were here this night, then this happened, then that happened. Where were you at such a night? That sort of thing. And Clint we finished it, and he turned to Jack, his lighting cameraman. Jack went, okay, and he said, Liam, you were fine. Evan, good. I was my usual adequate self. Let's move on. It always sticks with me, that piece of directing. So I still think the same too. If the scene goes well, I think I was my usual adequate self.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions? I think we're all done then. Please give it up for Liam Neeson here at the Zurich Film Festival.